we have a really great guest here today. First, let's start off with Yanick Paquette. I hope I pronounced that correct. You have too many titles to name that you've worked on. Your list is unbelievable, the amount of work. But I think the fact that you have anything with Superman and Batman in your title of work is extremely impressive. So, of course, Batman Inc. is the big reason why you're here. And, of course, we have Burnham. Also Batman Inc. And another laundry list of just amazing titles. So I just want to express again how great it is to have these guests here. So if you guys could just applaud them, just. So we're going to keep this really simple. Obviously, we have a draw-off in place that's going to happen here, but we also want to give you guys an opportunity to ask these guys some questions. So if you have questions and you'd like to talk to them, just raise your hand, nod, look to me, and I'll gladly help you guys facilitate this. But first, I'd like to start by letting these guys introduce themselves in a little bit more and give as much detail as they'd like on what they're working on, some great projects, and give them an opportunity to just say, hey, here's your audience.
Want to start? Whatever. I don't know. I'm Burnham.
Hello, Chris.
Batman Inc. is over. No more Batman Inc. for you or me. Start this off on a crap note, right? I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Hopefully the reissue of Nixon's Pals will come out next year. I'm seriously, I'm the worst editor in the world. I think I draw all right, but I've basically been the project manager of coloring the graphic novel I did like 5 or 6 years ago that kind of put me on whatever comic map there is. And so it's colored now, it looks pretty fancy, and I'm just the worst project manager. It is so close to being done, and it's just like, I don't know. I don't like people asking me for things, and so me asking other people for things is like super, super hard for me, so it's a nightmare. But it's awesome comics. One of my favorite things I've ever done, Nixon's Pals, about a parole officer for supervillains. They've all got crazy comic book powers, and he's just a dude. Awesome. It's violent, it's funny, it's surprisingly heartfelt for such a ridiculous comic. I don't know, it's awesome.
And when that thing is gonna eventually be done,
yeah.
What's the venue? Image?
Yeah, it's a hardcover coming out from Image, yeah. All right. So hopefully for San Diego next year. If it's after that, I should just scrap the whole goddamn thing.
It's good to give you specific goals.
I don't consider that a swear.
I'm Yanick. Yeah, indeed, I've been doing stuff for almost 20 years. In comics.
Since you were 40?
Yeah. And so yeah, in the recent year I did Batman Inc. also, so we have that in common. And when they did the new 52, I did the Swamp Thing stuff.
Ooh, nice.
And yeah, thank you. And after the Swamp Thing, and this is what I'm doing now, it's I'm doing a graphic novel called Wonder Woman Earth 1 with Grant. And it's taking me forever. It's 120 pages of very complex, hard to draw things. So
yeah.
And unlike books that I've worked on before, I had to reinvent every single aspect of it all. So there's a lot of time that it was just in design and overthinking element. And well, we've both worked with Grant, and Grant offers the artist a special type of challenge, which is unlike other writers, and I guess it depends on his schedule and how he feels, but my script for Wonder Woman is very abstract. All the crazy conceptual idea are there, but sometimes it will ask me to draw things by explaining how he wants people to feel,
yeah.
more than what to draw. Like for instance, there's a scene where he described, it's an entire scene, so a couple of panels on a single page, and he goes, as we look at these wild women, we should feel like anthropologue looking at a lost culture and barely understanding what we're witnessing. And I gotta draw that. It slows me down a lot. You know what it
Yeah, it's rough. It's yeah, and that's why I mean I think Grant's comics are hit and miss for a lot of people because if you don't have, if you only have a month to draw a Grant comic, you're up Poop Creek. Yeah, but we were you know, they were easy enough on the deadlines on the first volume of Batman Inc. that we were able to take a month and a half or 2 months on a lot of those issues, which really enables you to go from like 75% to like I think we were 93% maybe. I think we did all right, but like the longer you have with a Grant script to really, you know, sit with it and ponder how you're gonna pull off these impossible requests.
When
really helps.
when I first started to work with him, it was just after my 2 years with Alan Moore on Terra Obscura, and Alan Moore would give you 120 pages of script for a 20 pages comic. So you would really just sit there with like a bottle of wine and read it as a book. And everything is there, and sometimes he goes on a tangent and talks about something else. And, you know, it's a great read. And then I did Seven Soldier, and the first script came in with different color, of size, font at different size, no dialogue. It was, oh my god.
Oh yeah, Grant scripts don't have dialogue. Most of them are seriously like go to store ... why the ...
castle .
Yeah, not even an exaggeration.
Yeah, and when I got that script, I've called my editor and said, oh, I think my you know, my word processor can't read that format. But it was, I mean, he said, no, that's what you get. And I was scared trying to, it's really like a skeleton of an animal, and then you have to create all the muscle for it to kind of move. And I'm taking so much decision on myself. I mean, Grant, look at this. What is this? This is not what I've planned. But I came to realize that somehow this is a stimulation for him to get some of the unexpected in the mix. And at the end anyway, he's gonna recreate the fur of the animal. He will do all the dialogue, and sometimes I will read my own book and discover the story.
Yeah.
With awe. And once in a while I will have thought, oh damn, if I knew that was the story, I should have done that a little different. Yeah. But most of the, you know, usually if you trust him, he'll gonna give you, you know, gonna get you to where you should go.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a trust relationship for him to us too, because again, giving such a just structural script to anybody, you have to trust these artists, and that's why he's only working with like 5 guys or so in this industry, because you know that Chris will be able to take whatever he sent into something that makes sense at the end for him at least. So there we go.
Yeah.
Can I just say this is also the most handsome panel? And I feel more cultured now just listening to his accent.
It's a fake one.
It's great. You did a really good job. Just the whole thought of you like drinking your wine and doing your work, and you probably had a violinist in the background.
Studio, the entire studio is all candlelight.
Yeah.
And yeah.
You did it with a quill. Yeah, that's great.
Better.
If you don't, you should. So again, you know, this is open for questions, folks. So feel free to. You have very talented people in front of you that you can ask any question you want. And I'm not saying that there's Batman fans in the room, but there are people dressed as Batman characters in the room. So maybe there's some people that like Batman in here who might want to talk about it.
I would add a last detail. When I did Batman Inc., well, my take on it was a traveling guide, because the part that I did was really him going to a location, and it was very dramatic, and I tried to do as dramatic and almost greedy and sexual almost intention as I can. And when Chris took over, I thought you did a better job than me to capture this, the fun ride that it is. Mm-hmm. No, seriously. And yeah, I'm glad you took over, because as I compared the stuff now, I feel like you were more in tune with the intention, I believe. But at the same time, again, with a script that flexible, you push it
so many different directions. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, it's weird. We were drawing. I think you were drawing issue 3 at the same time that I was drawing issue 4. Like we were.
Yeah.
In order to get the book out on time. And it was really weird and stressful, but also fun to see like the two different takes that we were taking. And often we were drawing the same scene. Like there was a big fight with El Gaucho and the Batman.
Yeah.
With these electro knuckles, and I couldn't draw the fight until he had drawn the last page of the issue. So like he designed the knuckles first. So it was interesting to see our different takes on the identical material, and me trying to, I don't know, lean into his style a little bit more, and on the flashback, so it's slightly lean into like a Silver Age-ish style.
This is how you do proper fill-in structure, which is you create a structure in the story itself that allows, all right, this is another graphic language because it's in the past or something.
Yeah.
In this world where comics are getting produced super fast still, and the deadline doesn't change, and people expect a level of graphic quality which is a lot higher than in the 80s, for instance.
Yeah.
You end up with a lot of fill-ins. But it's rarely well done. It's really well planned. Like, okay, we're gonna have a little arc and then another arc with a different tone that fit this other. I'm saying that because I'm reading. They sent me the huge Sandman, like monster book. I don't know if you guys have seen those. It's like huge. It's super. It's ridiculous. You can't hold it. You can't. And so anyway, I'm reading that stuff, and once in a while, Neil need a fill-in. But he changed the story entirely. It's another thing. And then you go back to the regular story arc with the regular artist from the start. And this is how you do it for real. And I think Grant sort of kind of took that opportunity with issue 4.
Yeah.
So, allowed the flexibility for
yeah. When you work with Nathan, Nathan's the best.
Nathan
Fairbairn, our colorist, who basically just works with you, me, and Brian Lee O'Malley now.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
I've worked with Nathan on at Marvel on some X-Men books and some Wolverine stuff. And when I went to DC, I said, all right, well, if you get me, you get my colorist.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And they had to create a raid for Nathan. And Nathan actually doesn't quite like to work at DC, even though we're there, because the color policy at DC and Marvel are not the same, and they don't get royalties for some obscure reason at DC. Well, they do at Marvel, so I prefer to do work at Marvel, but we're both, dragging him in sins. So,
we have a question over here in the back.
Hi. So when each of you is drawing Batman, do you prefer a more tactical design or a more kind of gothic, dramatic design? Like in particular, things like the length of the ears, or more kind of body armor-ish type suit.
When we ended up doing Batman Inc., David Finch actually came up with the design because he was the guy. He did Batman Return, and he was doing his Dark Knight thing.
Yeah.
So he had to create the design, which is a very typical David Finch design with a lot of gear, with a lot of pouch, with a lot of steam and stuff. And as I'm a much more minimalistic, at least not in the light, I do like crazy, bizarre lights, but design element, I love them simple. And slowly as the book progressed, I just took out stuff. All right. Oh no, there's no bullets.
Yeah.
There is some stuff going on the chesty armor.
Yeah.
Disappeared slowly. I don't know if you managed to bring that back in.
I drew them as though it was like a cloth uniform that just had like a zigzag seam. Yeah, I kept that, but yeah, he had a lot of business going on that was really tough to draw. And the weird thing, that version of Batman had this funny like jockstrap sort of situation, and it has never been drawn from the back because we couldn't figure out. Because like realistically, that would look like a weird
straps,
like a jockstrap, like a repelling sort of thing, which really looks odd from the back. So no one ever did it. It's just like, well, I don't know how to pull that off. So Batman's got a cape, just carves out part of it.
You drawn it. You're right.
Yeah.
So there you have it, guys. Batman has no butt. Yes.
I guess my question for Chris, a little more open-ended in the question. I heard you mentioning how you'll get the scripts from Grant, and sometimes you discover your own story. I think you were saying, but when you were doing the Leviathan book at the end of Batman Inc. with the whole Dr. Daedalus, did you really when you were drawing it, did you have a clear concept of where in the timeline things were placed? Or was that something that kind of, because I think it took me till my fourth read, well, admittedly, to figure out exactly where everything was occurring and when it was occurring, because it just jumps all over. I mean, how did that come together for you?
It was tricky because often with Grant, you'll get like the first 5 pages of script, and then you'll get like the next 8, and then you'll get 2 more, but you're still waiting on pages 6 and 13. and so I had it all mapped out, but I was only drawing, like in this comic, you know, the whole Bat team is kind of trapped in this weird death trap, and it also cuts around the world to different Batman Incorporated members who are each being killed off. And so since I wasn't sure how the whole death trap situation was going to work, I saved all that stuff for last, and just did all the members being killed off around the world. So I saved, like it turns out it's like a circular room. It's like a series of circular rooms that all look identical, and Batman's not sure if he's entering the same room over and over again. So I had the whole thing mapped out in timeline and location, and so I always knew exactly what I was doing. And I built that room that he's constantly going in. I built it in SketchUp so that it's the identical room over and over, which is just a massive pain in the butt. Like I'm totally self-taught with SketchUp, so it's totally janky. But for me at least. The whole room is very circular. It's almost like a circular stadium, which for me, that sort of thing with those smooth circular arcs is completely impossible to freehand.
Yeah, they're very hard in perspective to figure out.
Yeah, and there's the whole weird rule where like if you're on the circle, it looks like an ellipse, but if you're behind it, it looks like a hyperbola or whatever. There's these super obscure perspective rules for how to render circles in perspective, and I can never remember what it is. And so I built it in SketchUp and just traced it.
No, there's no shame.
Yeah, not at all.
There's no shame.
It's a tool.
Yeah, I use SketchUp a lot too. And I remember I did a Uncanny X-Men where it's a summer special, so it's 44 pages. And in it, there's a steampunk sentinel, a huge monster with like gears and things, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to redraw that monster all the time. And I've just built it in SketchUp. It took me 3 days. But I could trace it now forever. And I was using a crazy angle.
Oh, nice, yeah.
They were all working perfectly because I spent my initial time to do it. You know, the important thing is the end product. If that tool would impair the quality of the work, well, it would be a problem, but it doesn't. It helps us out. So.
Cool.
So I think that leads to a good point. Obviously, in the room right now, we have a lot of various ages of fans. You're drawing Batman. You know, how does that? How do you feel when you're actually doing that? When you're drawing something that has so much history, has so much passion behind it, that especially in the fan base.
Yeah, I don't know for Chris, but when I got to draw Batman, at that moment I had done so many books. I mean, it was just a job. It's not the same for Swamp Thing. For instance, Swamp Thing was very personal to me, and I felt like because there's so few people that did draw Swamp Thing, it was part of a very small legacy of people, like a small club of people. But everybody did Batman. Everyone did. So it didn't feel so much like an honor of sort. It's hard sometimes to understand that from the other side of the fence because, oh, you gotta draw Batman, it's so great, but after 20 years of doing comics, they're just characters and franchise. But I do remember that the first time I worked on a DC paper with the logo on the top, it was a Tomorrow story, Tomorrow Woman story for JLA, and I was nervous. I was like, oh my god, this paper, and I touch it, and I had a weird tactile relation to it, and yeah, that was stressful, but not Batman. I don't know you because you jumped from Image to Batman.
Yeah, I jumped from complete obscurity into finishing off Grant's Black Glove story, which is insane. So I was definitely overwhelmed by it. I mean, I reread his whole run to try and figure out how I was going to draw it. At that time, I was drawing everything very in an open style with no shadows or shading at all, which was appropriate for the sci-fi stuff I was doing, but for Batman, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Nathan that can do
Nathan could do it, and like Seth Fisher has done like an open style Batman, but to draw 7 pages after 6 years of heavily shadowed Batman, it just didn't seem fair or appropriate to do an open. So I had to reteach myself how to shade, and so I just copied Frank Whiteley's kind of like style of shading, which is kind of aggressively crappy on, I mean, he's maybe my favorite artist, but like the shading he was doing in Batman and Robin is kind of, he's getting away with it. It looks great, but like it's kind of, so I was trying to see, is there a way I could get away with it, and I don't know. I pulled it off enough so that they hired me back, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, it was. It's weird. Like Grant's stuff is so referential to 75 years of Batman history that I was always going back to the stuff from 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, the whole everything. Yeah. So it was.
Did you get any help from Mike on the referencing?
Some of it. The problem is people at the DC offices work 9 to 5, and comic artists. I mean, I work noon to 3 in the morning or whatever. So when I'm really getting into it and I need reference, it's always 1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. So I go on a Gmail instant chat, and there's a couple. Do you know Chris Sims? He does the Invincible Super Blog. He's like the biggest Batman fan ever. So I'm like, hey, what does this mean? And I'll just copy and paste something, and he's like, hold on a second, and he'll scan that in and like send me the appropriate reference, or he'll point me towards a torrent file or something.
I found out the internet is the ultimate source of knowledge. Yeah. Like the fans there. I used to go to Comic Vine. Is that
that place.
And so they have like a good reference pictures of every character. But then if you want something very bizarre and specific, and Grant will, he just love that bizarre thing.
Yeah.
On down I remember in Seven Soldier, I don't remember the specific but there's like a glove of sort, like a robo glove. Anyway, coming from somewhere like very obscure, and I had to ask the internet, and a bunch of fans sent me like the pictures scanned from the comic
that's awesome.
From the 60s or whatever. So I was like, all right, they're my internet.
Yeah, my first Batman, it was in Batman and Robin 16. He talks about there's this like mirror room that Batman would use to interrogate people or something. Yeah. And Grant's like, I read about this in the encyclopedia. I don't know what issue it was, but you can find it. Go. He seriously does it all the time. Like you can find reference for this on the internet. It's so obscure. So it's completely impossible to find this. So I basically just had to make it up. And then when I finally got reference, I was like, oh man, it was way easier to do it how it actually looked.
I think you just got everybody in the room excited by the fact that you guys may someday contact them. Via blog, being like, I'm looking for this boot.
It's totally like we become the Shadow, and we've got these team of agents we need to call. Like, who is my Starman expert that I know, right?
Anyway, on Wonder Woman, I took no chance, and I've asked Eddie Berganza, just sent me all the, because Grant is referencing the early days, the 40s and a bit of the 50s, so they sent me the entire thing.
Oh wow!
And it's pretty crazy stuff. It's wild. So I've been reading like the early Wonder Woman stuff, and of course he's gonna reference kangaroos and also the thing that people have now long forgotten that are part of Wonder Woman mythology, like kangaroos matches and stuff.
What?
Yeah, I know.
She fights kangaroos?
Like she owned like a massive monster kangaroo that can jump to the moon.
Really?
For real? Wonder Woman does, yeah.
Actually, the Axe Cop screening is later. So.
That's crazy.
Yeah, well, that's early stuff. I mean, it's a recommend read. The 40s, Wonder Woman, it's crazy. There's a moment where, I'm just gonna go into the detail, but they dress the girls, the other Amazon in doe, like in deers and doe, and then they chase them around the island. And they capture them like actual doe, and then they kind of skin them, so they took out the costume, but they're upside down like animal, and then they tried to bake them in huge pie. and they go, and this guy's in cook, and these other girls are all tied up in that pie, waiting to be cooked. And they're like, oh, we're gonna taste so yummy. I wish I could eat myself or something like that. Seriously.
After which bottle of wine was that?
I know, but it's it's the 40s. So we have to beat that. This is like next level. If they could go on and because of course there is no way you could go sexual or even erotic in the 40s. So but clearly that was the intention somewhere.
Yeah.
So you gotta go crazy a little. So it's under the radar, but something going on, it's hard to tell. And yeah, we're doing a bit of the same tactic with our own thing.
Well, you guys are already fantastic, and this time is already flying by. So we want to make sure we have time to actually do this draw.
It's actually we do.
Yeah. So this is what we were discussing. We're going to be doing a Batman themed drawing here, okay? But we kind of need some help from you guys. So let's hear some quick ideas on what would be a good scenario for Batman to be in, keeping in mind belts and buckles are probably not the scenario that they're looking for. Although I'm really keen on this giant kangaroo that can jump to the moon now.
They're called congas.
They're called what?
Congas.
Oh, of course. So they would have a name. That makes sense.
And again, I've been spending like too much time designing armors for kangaroos.
Yep.
So I want them all to have different type of kangaroo
you're
armor.
a maniac.
Yeah.
They like it.
So who's got a good idea? Yes.
Would you back out fighting the kangaroo?
I don't want to do a kangaroo. You want to see
that?
Kangaroo.
Another idea?
How about Batman riding Bat Cow fighting the Abomination?
Well, I don't.
That's a lot. Keep in mind, we only have like 20 minutes to do this, so. You in the back.
Batman riding the giant kangaroo to the moon?
I'm thinking maybe the kangaroo's going to end up in this. What about?
The back of the jockstrap.
The back of the I'm quite partial to that. Not in that way, but I'm partial to that. We'll do one more, but I'm thinking that's it. Yes?
What about a group counseling session of Batman?
Okay, no.
No!
All right, last one. There was one more hand that went up. Yes, you in the back.
Batman in the Batmobile going through the drive-thru at Starbucks?
No. Okay. I think we all know which one we want.
Kangaroo going to space.
No. Well, I think we're gonna go with the back of the jockstrap. Come on, it's making you embarrassed already. And what are you already on SketchUp? Come on. No. Okay. So what we got? We got kangaroo, Batman on the kangaroo, or Batman's
Batstrap.
weird batstrap. Batstrap it is? Alright. I think we're going for the batstrap. The mask.
We're going for You mentioned that. That was a secret.
Seriously, is that what we're drawing?
The kangaroo. Yeah. You can put the batstrap on the kangaroo. That might make it easier with the tail.
Right. That is all I say all day long. It's just me cursing myself out.
See, this is one of those things though later on you guys are going to be like, oh, that was so much fun though, wasn't it? We went up,
I don't know.
did this thing that I didn't want to do. You got Yanick some wine? A couple quill pens. This is the part that I was worried about. I was like, when they start drawing, we're going to stop talking, and then it's just going to be 50 or 60 people staring at 2 people draw.
We're professionals. We've got the ability to do both.
Yep.
We can do things.
Drawing a bottle of wine.
Drawing a man's butt.
Yeah.
This is something you can tell your son. Good. Yeah. You're welcome. Do you guys need any character models? Yeah, that wasn't, it's okay, you don't have to get up.
I'm gonna go over the internet, search for.
Google bus route.
Yeah. That's a good idea. I'm gonna Google bus route. Yeah.
Clear our browser history.
So who here is gonna be the best at judging male butts? Oh, okay. Wow. Robin, your hand went up really fast. And I have to say, you are going to be the one that's going to judge it now because of the fact that it's just so stereotypical. I mean, we all know this. We all know the Robin backstory. So yeah. That's great. It's like lightning. Yeah. Oh. I didn't actually mean to do that. Well, you all saw it, right? Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go take a sneak peek. Oh.
Did you see any kangaroos?
I'm not saying anything.
Is there any official word on multiversity, and are either of you involved?
I don't have the time for that.
I'm not involved. It is definitely happening. I had dinner at Grant's house a couple weeks ago, and he showed me all the art he's gotten in for it. So I have no idea what schedule it's going to come out, but what I've seen is awesome. Like best Frank Quitely art ever, really good Cam Stewart art. Like he's done with Shazam. I think Nathan is coloring it.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who else is, and I can't remember what's been announced and what I know in secret. So I don't know. It is definitely going to come out before we're all dead.
That's great. We need to give him some more coffee. Yeah. Somebody give him a Red Bull. Yeah. What's that? It is. Yeah. So you guys excited? Is this what you thought you were gonna, when you guys all did the pre-register? Yeah. Yeah. You're like, yes, fat straps.
How are we doing on time?
We're really good at time, actually. We got another, we got plenty of time. So after you guys are done with this, you can put this up on one of the blogs. And then later another artist can reference you guys.
You're creating history here.
Yeah. Don't let it overwhelm you. So I know we're all kind of just joking and watching these guys draw right now, but if you guys do have a question, obviously they can. Yes, you in the back, sir.
Do you guys ever use face or likeness models or anything for any of your characters, or you just go with the proportions and whatnot you have in your head?
You mean the actor as a reference?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I do. What I'll do though is I'll combine a few reference of like different people. So it's not the likenesses I'm going for, but like a ballpark, just to give me some sort of referencing to go back to, because you can go in a tangent and make faces don't look, or just doing always the same faces.
Right.
So I will do it, but I'll try to keep away from having a specific individual in mind.
Yeah, I have in the past done that, and I have not recently, other than Kathy Kane from whatever the last issue of Batman Inc. I wanted to make sure that she looked different enough from Talia, because I've kind of fallen into just, because Talia's kind of the only woman that's been in Batman Inc. I think that's basically true. So she's just kind of been, I mean, as long as she's pretty, she basically looks like Talia, because she's the only girl that's there. And so when Kathy Kane showed up, I wanted to make sure that she looked distinctive from Talia. So I based her on some like film noir actress whose name I can't remember.
Thanks.
They're very specific.
Yes.
Do any DC artists get to have any input on the design of the new bat suit for Man of Steel 2?
Doubtful. Don't think so. Apparently they're basing it on, what's his name? Who drew Batman Noel? Lee Bermejo. Apparently it's based on Lee Bermejo's design from that. But I doubt Lee sees a dime from that.
Yes.
Is there any word on whether or not they're going to try and bring Damian Wayne back to life?
I have no idea. As far as I'm concerned, he's dead. But I mean, it's not my job anymore.
I think that's a no.
Yeah. Todd and Stephanie were dead too.
What's that?
So Jason Todd and Stephanie Brown were dead too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Nobody stays dead.
yeah. Who knows?
Half the cast of all my children. But yes.
Yeah, it's actually for Chris. Was Batman originally meant to be just a one-off, or did you manage to just insert it in different places?
He kept asking for Batcow, so I kept putting it in. But I had no idea. I mean, if I would have known what a sensation or whatever Batcow was, I wouldn't have sold that page. I honestly thought people would think it was ridiculous and hate it. I was really nervous about it. But I guess I was wrong.
It was one of those situations when it just comes all the way back around.
Yeah, I guess I didn't have faith that people were going to get the joke, and I was also worried that people were going to be really mad at us for being, I don't know, hippies or something, for the vegetarian thing. Although when I drew it, that scene is disgusting. That slaughterhouse scene is pretty accurate for what a slaughterhouse really looks like, and I was imagining it to just be an absolute nightmare. But Nathan colored it in a way that it's, super primary colors, and it's really brightly lit and just almost looks ridiculous. So it really toned down just the horrific events that take place in that slaughterhouse. It just it becomes almost abstract. But I was really if you would have colored it realistically or accurately or whatever, it really would have been just disgusting.
Yes.
Given the fact that this is an open-ended question for both of you, given the fact that Batman's been around for so long, is it hard to put your own take on the drawing, or do you find that you go to other artists as much?
It's a good question. I don't think I've, as a conscious thing, tried to put my own stamp on Batman itself. What I tried to do in the case of Batman Inc., for instance, is to give a lot of love to the background and to the location. That was my take on the book, was to make the location almost the main character for Argentina and Tokyo, for instance, which I did. But Batman itself, I have a huge Kevin Nolan streak in me, and he does a great Batman, so there's a bit of that. But yeah, I never spend actual time saying, I'm gonna do it differently. Yeah, I just do it and say, oh, all right, that's how he does.
Yeah, I mean, it took me a while to get comfortable with him. If you look at all my Batman stuff, one after the other, I draw the ears a lot differently. It took me a while to figure out the proportions of his chin to his, the rest of his head, and that sort of thing. It's kind of, I only realized it later. It's a fair amount, based on the Dark Knight Returns, the Batman, with a little bit of Bruce Timm and probably a little Jim Lee, and there's a Kieran Dwyer in there. I mean, it's just kind of, every Batman I've ever seen just kind of mentally boiled into one. So it's wasn't really an active choice. It was more like a process of elimination and just trial and error sort of thing. And he's got my teeth. I'm always drawing Batman snarling, and I've got the mirror right next to me, so I'm always grimacing and doing my, oh, I drew the wrong one, God.
About 10 minutes, guys. Thank you.
10 minutes?
Yep.
We're not good on time. What is it?
You were. That's how time works. What?
That hurts my feelings.
You know what it is?
Yep. Yes, in the back.
Aside from bat straps, are there any characters that you absolutely dread drawing just because they're either too complicated or just, you know, really impossible?
I don't like Spider-Man. For some Spider-Man webbing structure that goes from his face to his neck doesn't work. It never did. It's impossible. There's more line of coming down on the back and the front than it starts on his face. And the tendency is you think, oh, they start there, they just flow over, but they don't. I mean, they have to divide and multiply at some point. You never see that on designs. And so, it's a trap. That you end up doing that monthly and suddenly discovering, oh my God, it never worked. and I looked at the, you know, John Romita and all the guys that came before, they always find a good way to hide that terrible fact. By having like his head being like an oval, for instance, disconnected from the neck. So you don't see exactly how it goes, and there's just a lot more coming down there. And anyway, he's a trap.
I'm almost half expecting Stan Lee to drop out of the ceiling. Face her down.
I never got comfortable with drawing Nightwing. I do not understand how his he's got this metallic business that you know, connects from his neck to his shoulder, and I just cannot figure out how to do it. And then, like, how is it metallic that he can raise his arms over his head? And, I don't know. And when Eddie Barrows draws it, it looks great, and I just cannot figure out how he does it.
I'm already liking what I'm saying, by the way. It's good. Yes.
With the new 52, why did they suddenly decide to make Nightwing's emblem red rather than keeping it blue?
Best answer. There you go. Yahoo votes. Yes.
What are your ideal work environments? Like, do you have to like walk your dog first? Do you need a routine? Can you work on the road? That sort of thing.
I'm still trying to find it.
Do you drive and ink and record it all at the same time?
I'm pretty sure that was a joke. I hope that was a joke.
Now myself, I discovered that if I draw, to be able to draw for a long time, I need some sort of other things to do at the same time. So I will listen to podcasts and I will try to do something else, because if not, I'll get bored. I mean, as soon as you make the layout and you know where you're going, the rest is all just technical. When you draw, especially Swamp Thing, I was doing forest and branches for the entire day. So it's very boring. So by at least listening to somebody talk, like TED Talks or whatever, it gives you something to do, and your mind is still active, and you get caught in the story or whatever is being said, and so you stay, you work. So oh, the page is done.
Was it during TED Talks that Batman became a vegetarian?
It's only Damien became a vegetarian.
Oh, that's right.
Batman is unconcerned.
Oh, 5 minutes, guys.
We expect it inked in color as well.
Yeah, sorry. Later.
Anticipation's building, guys. What are we going to see? See bat butt? See kangaroo butt? What butt are we going to see?
This
will be good too, because some of the chili cook-off people are starting to come in, and they're really going to wonder why we're drawing butts. Some mysteries are best left that way.
This is for us.
This is for us. Yes. Everybody, this is our moment.
That's what we waited for.
Yeah, that's right. It's been months building up. Let's get drunk.
These will get tucked in the Absolute Edition, man.
Maybe. They put some weird stuff in those.
Yeah, at least now I can go back to the office and say, hey guys, we figured out the butt problem.
We no longer have an excuse not to draw his butt.
Yep. He doesn't wear that outfit anymore. It's too late.
Is anybody vlogging this already? It should be out on somebody's Twitter feed already. Come on.
I did Instagram.
You did Instagram it? Yeah, that's a start. That's a start. Yeah. I want
Hashtag Batman, hashtag butts.
Yeah. Yes.
When you're drawing Batman, whose voice do you imagine him having?
I don't really. I don't even. I will sometimes do stupid voices for people, but I don't really do one for him. So I don't know.
Hard question. I'm in the same ballpark. I'm listening to that podcast and I just no voice.
Who do you do stupid voices for?
See, you look at that.
Mostly Francesco Francavilla.
I love to draw. I draw so fast. I draw orgy.
Yeah, I don't know. I give him my ridiculous Mario voice. And, like everyone from any country, to me, I just do a horrible, offensive Italian accent.
It's a me. It's a Batman. We had a question in the back.
It's for Yanick. What's your favorite wine to drink while you're drawing?
While I'm drawing? Well, for white, I love the Cabernet for the white. And I'm bullshitting. I don't know. And I'll go for Pinot Noir for the red.
So nothing in a box.
They got more, they say, but
Man, I love Boxo.
Just over a couple minutes, guys.
Have you ever heard? Do they have slap the bag here?
Yeah, we played that in college.
Slap the sack.
Slap the sack. It's like, how would you even describe it? I mean, it's basically like a keg stand for drinking Boxo wine.
Yeah, you take the wine bladder out of the box and then you slap it as hard as you can and you drink it till you can't anymore.
Wow. But the slapping doesn't affect it in any way, right?
No, it doesn't.
It's just annoying?
Just an adrenaline rush, I guess.
Side note, that was not at all what I thought you were talking about.
You don't know what that is. It sounds like a horrible, horrible game for guys.
Yeah.
Something involves back straps.
All right, guys, one more minute. I think we should probably get Robin up here. It's all right, come on. I want to get the surprise. I want to make sure that if you get really excited about the butt. So which Robin are you?
Well, I'm Tim Drake, but I don't.
Boo!
You know he's the judge, right?
mistake, dude.
I'm thinking Yanick's gonna win.
Yeah, but my hair's not correct.
Perfectionist.
Yeah.
Well, if that statement doesn't imply that this is going to be a very literal judging.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys, pencils down.
Let's go over here and collect the work. Let's see what we got here. All right. I'm going to show this to the crowd first. I love the expression. All right, here's Yannick's. I think it's important to spend special note at the expression of his face. Very much like, yeah, you're gonna look at my butt. I know. It's pretty hot, right?
That's a kangaroo gargoyle too.
In the pouch, I love that. I don't know. Yeah.
That's a planet with a
It's the moon.
It's the moon pouches.
I'm gonna let you judge. Now listen, I don't want to say which one is better. They're both great.
Yeah.
Alright,
So, I'm gonna be totally cinephilic and...
yes. Thank you, Robin. Maybe seed, take a seat, whatever you do, whatever Robins do. Well, listen, folks, we're pretty much at the end of our time here. This was great, wasn't it? Yeah.